And thank you for tuning in to Hawkeye's House of Horrors. And today, this review, I'm now going to start bringing the top horror films of 1981, in my opinion, that are I highly recommend and really enjoy. So I'm going to get to those today. And the first one is Dark Night of the Scarecrow. I'm going to get into that one. I saw it a few days ago. And this is one, much like Maniac from 1980. Um, it's getting better every time I see it. I've seen it three times now, um, but I can't wait to give a little review on that film. Now, just to go back to 1980, there were other films in that year as well that were great. It wasn't like, for example, like The Shining and Empire Strikes Back. There were also other films in that year which I thought were awesome, like Airplane, The Blues Brothers, Caddyshack, and Breaker Morant. Uh, Amazing film. So it was a really good year for films, much like 1981. It had other films like Raiders of the Lost Ark, one I've mentioned a few times now from that year. But this film, Dark Night of the Scarecrow, it was directed by Frank DeFelitta. He had directed some other things, but he's more known as being a novelist. He did Audrey Rose and The Entity. I've yet to see either of those films. Can't wait to get into those. Now, the story was done by J.D. Fegelson. He wrote a lot of stuff for TV, including this. This is a TV movie. He did, for example, he did some episodes of The Twilight Zone, as well as Wes Craven's Chiller. I think that was 1985. As well as also helping with the story is Butler Hancock. This is the only screen credit he had for any writing or anything like that. But the teleplay or the screenplay was done by Figgelson as well. And it was released, perfect time of year, on October the 24th, 1981 on TV. This was actually originally supposed to be like a theatrical release or an independent film, but it was bought by CBS and it went down that avenue and was a TV movie. Now, what we have here is a very good TV movie. Um, Sometimes TV movies, they can be good for sure, but it's got its limitations in compared to theatrical releases. But this one here, um, it deals with the subject matter very well. I mean, of course, there isn't a bunch of swearing or nudity, anything like that, but that's okay. You didn't, you don't need that in order for it to be a good film. But as I was saying, like it deals with the subject matter very well. And this was a better movie than I was expecting. It was going to be like when I first looked it up, I saw names like Charles Durning and Larry Drake. I thought, okay, this is going to be a good flick, and it was better than I was expecting. So I'm going to get into the story here now, and we have, I would say he's definitely the main character. That's Otis Hazelrig, who's a mail carrier. He also hides the fact that he likes to drink, and he lives at Mrs. Bunch's boarding house in the town. Now, this is a great performance by Charles Durning. Um, he was in a lot of great flicks like The Sting or Tootsie, but he was also in, just to keep it in the horror realm here, he was also in When a Stranger Calls from 1979. So that was right around this time frame. Great performance by him. But he sees the local mentally challenged man named Bubba, or his nickname is Bubba. It's a terrific performance by Larry Drake, who was in Darkman as well. Now, Bubba, he's playing with, I'm guessing she's like a 10-year-old girl named Mary Lee Williams, played by Tanya Crow. Uh, Now, Otis has already started the fires burning, if you will, on Bubba. And he thinks, or he's telling other people, that he thinks that Bubba is going to like take advantage of this little girl, and this is not going to turn out well. Now, when it's heard that she's actually killed by Bubba, Otis then grabs a posse together. Um, Along with him in this posse is Lane Smith, who I remember from My Cousin Vinny, Robert F. Lyons. It's interesting to me. He looks a lot to me like Elijah Cook, which is great for this role or that character. He was in a ton of TV stuff. I looked him up, but I think I might remember him more. He was in a few different Charles Bronson movies, including Death Wish 2. And the final guy is Claude Earl Jones, who I remember from Bride of Reanimator as well. So, anyways, these four men, they track down Bubba. But thanks to Bubba's mother, played by Jocelyn Brando, yes, that's Marlon's sister, he hides himself in a scarecrow out in the field. Man, I really do love this scene, and it may be uh, the highlight of the film, or the the best scene to me in this entire film. Um, um, just seeing Bubba run away from the posse, and he's running with all his might, and he's terrified. He's so scared, and he didn't do anything wrong, but he's running away from them. I put down Drake does a terrific job playing this character. Um, And you, as the viewer, you know he's actually an extremely gentle man that would hurt no one. And these four grown men are after him with guns, like they're going to get him. Um, Now, next, Baba is hiding in the Scarecrow, um, and this is great. Like you can see him, he's shaking, up trying to hide from these four men. And when it might be from Otis's point of view, from his POV looking at the scarecrow, you can see Bubba's eyes, his terrified eyes, and he says Bubba didn't do it. And I actually find this scene very terrifying, and that's why it's amazing. It's a TV movie. um, I found this to be more terrifying than the rest of the film. Um, the fact that this posse is out to get this innocent man that did absolutely nothing wrong, and he doesn't deserve the outcome that he's going to get here. Um, so yeah, like once the posse find Bubba, they realize that Bubba's hiding as a scarecrow. They shoot and kill him. I think it's like 29 times or something crazy. Um, and then, like, immediately almost after that, they find that Marilee is actually all right. She didn't die. And Bubba, in fact, saved her life from a dog. It was a dog that attacked her. Um, so, what continues in this scene that makes it so good is then Otis plants a pitchfork on Bubba and then they attempt to, and it works, sell the story of self-defense, even though the guy was shot 29 times. Um, so then, of course, they go to court. They get off. There was self-defense. And then immediately the next scene, you see them down at the local tavern, swilling pints, swilling beers, having a good old time. Um, so this is when Bubba comes back and gets his revenge on this group of people who to get justice for what they did to him. And then once the characters see a scarecrow out in the field, those characters will soon come face to face with death. Um, and there's one transition I loved. It's when Hawker, that's played by Lane Smith, he dies. He falls into a brush machine, and then like boom, immediately just sloop. You see like I think it's jam that's put on Otis's plate for breakfast at Mrs. Bunch's boarding house. And then as he's driving this large breakfast into his well-fed belly, he learns of his partner in crime, Hawker's death, and falling into this brush machine. Now, this film, I find it's influenced by Frankenstein, in my opinion, as you have this large, gentle man who's playing with this girl. Now, in Frankenstein, the girl dies. In this one, the tables are kind of reversed in the sense it's Bubba who dies, the girl doesn't die. Um, but in Frankenstein, there's a posse out to get him as well. So I really like that, and I love Frankenstein. It's the old Boris Karloff classic. It's a terrific film. Now, one thing I really enjoy about this film as well, and as I said, this is the third time I've seen it, um, and it kind of comes out of left field, and then it all makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, wow, okay, um, where Bubba's mother um, tells Otis that she knows what he is, indicating that he's actually like a pedophile or he is wanting Mary Lee himself. So it all adds up because it was Otis who started the whole idea of Bubba being this bad guy or he's going to do something bad when it was actually himself. And then he gets Bubba out of the way. So, this big man isn't there to protect Mary Lee from him. It's really well written and really well revealed, and um, I really like that in the story how it's added in there. And then, well, Bubba's mother, uh, you know, uh, Otis, later in the film, he ends up killing her. She actually has a heart attack, but um, his character, though, what he does, he then burns the house down. So it looks like, oh, just the house burned down. And he's he's definitely not a nice person at all. Now, in the end of the film, though, it makes me ask a question. I don't think it's the case, but you wonder, is it Bubba and his mother? Are they both killing Otis at the end? I don't think so because there's definitely indications, or it's Bubba, but there's no real pointer that, oh, it's also Bubba's mother as well that's in on this. Um, so I do think it's just Bubba doing these getting vengeance for his death. Now, I found it as well. Strother Martin was supposed to be the lead that Charles Durning ended up playing, but he passed away before the film was made. I could totally see him in this role, and it would have been great with him in it as well. So that's it. I really enjoyed this film. You definitely should see it. It's a TV movie, but it's definitely maybe not for little kids. It's maybe more like a PG-13 horror film, but it's definitely out there on some streaming services out there. Um, I would definitely recommend this one for sure. Absolutely, you know, gave some stuff away there, so I hope you've seen the film. There is a sequel. I saw it yesterday. I'm going to do a review for it sometime in the future. I didn't like it, but I'll try it again. I'm gonna watch it again, maybe in a month or something like that, and I'll review it as well. It's also done by J.D. Fegelson. I think that's how you pronounce his name. The screenwriter from the original. He writes and directs the second one. But anyways, that's it. Have yourself an excellent day.